Whitlock has been kidnapped. Gather $100,000 and await instructions.
Uncovering Hollywood's biggest secret.
Who are we? The future.
We'll take Hollywood's biggest actors.
Go out there and find him.
Do I look reliable? Damn it!
It's part of the job.
Yeah.
On February 5th comes the most epic comedy of the year. Hail Caesar, rated PG-13.
So the Coen brothers basically went to Universal and said, look, we know it's going to be Super Bowl weekend, but that doesn't mean we have to keep putting garbage out there. Let us do our job, and we'll put out a really damn good movie for you. And sure enough, that's exactly what they did. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. February 5th, 2016, 3 films to look at. At least they got the message that, hey, maybe we should put some good films out there. And lo and behold, Hail Caesar is definitely that movie, the biggest of the new releases here. Hail Caesar follows a day in the life of Eddie Mannix, played by Josh Brolin, a Hollywood fixer for Capitol Pictures in the 1950s, who cleans up and solves problems for big names and stars in the industry. But when studio star Bear Whitlock, played by George Clooney, disappears, Mannix has to deal with more than just the fix. And really, the Coen brothers are one of those directors who are pitch perfect when it comes to making quality movies. Not all of them are perfect, but each one of them is one of quality. You can definitely tell that they're trying. There's hardly a terrible movie in their roster. The only one that's the exception up to this point was The Lady Killers, but even then, that wasn't a bad movie. It just wasn't up to par with some of their best stuff overall. And this one, I really enjoyed the hell out of this movie, man. I was one of those people who championed it from the very beginning. I still hold on to it as one of the best, as one of their underrated movies. This is definitely a terrific, terrific film. And it really stems from the casting in this. Everybody in this movie plays their parts well. Brolin, Clooney, Channing Tatum, Jonah Hill. We could definitely tell he filmed this way before he lost all the weight, because I think later in the year he's in another movie where he definitely seems a lot skinnier than he does in this movie. Scarlett Johansson, Alden Ehrenreich, we'll get to him in a minute, Ray Fiennes, Tilda Swinton. Every one of them is great in this movie. Each one of them gives this great, authentic performance that's unique, different, and just very enjoyable to watch. The highlight being George Clooney, who gets the shit smacked out of him so many times by Brolin, and it leads to one of the funniest reactions by Clooney ever. You see George Clooney as the typical character that Clooney plays, suave, sophisticated, that Clark, I don't want to say Clark Gable, but who's the other one? Was it Clark Gable? I think it was Clark Gable, vibes to him, but I love the fact that by the end of this movie, he's just getting the shit smacked out of him, and his reactions are so priceless in this. In fact, this year in particular was actually a pretty strong year for Clooney playing characters that are against type. We'll see him in another movie later in the year, Money Monster, with a character that really is not what we're used to seeing him in, but that's another really underrated movie that came out with him in it. Josh Brolin, I think, is great in this movie. He's always going to give a great performance in this, regardless of what movie he's in. Alden Ehrenreich was somebody who I really thought was on his way to becoming a big star. He got casted as Han Solo not too long after this in Solo: A Star Wars Story, which wasn't one of the better which was good, but certainly not up to par with what Disney and Star Wars had done after they started putting movies out every year. But I mean, Channing Tatum, talk about a career that defied the odds. I mean, 10 years ago, he was in Step Up. Everyone thought he wasn't gonna go anywhere. He didn't have a lot of talent or charisma to him, but just another movie where you really see the talent within him. He's fantastic in this. He's hilarious, and he's a talented dancer too. There was a talk of a while now that him and Joseph Gordon-Levitt were gonna do this musical comedy together, and I thought, do it, man, because that looks freaking amazing. Just do it. The rest of the cast is really good, too. Scarlett Johansson's pretty good for the little bit she's in. I mean, she's not really in it a whole lot. Neither is Jonah Hill. I mean, they basically showed the one scene that he's in, but he's all over the marketing with the rest of the cast. I like the visual flair of the movie. It captures the spirit of the 1950s, nicely done with the music and the cinematography. If there is one complaint I have with the movie, and it's really not there really isn't a main story to work with here. It's more like subplots. It's like the Coen brothers version of the 22 short films about Springfield episode of The Simpsons, in terms of you have all these different stories going on here. There's no real flowing narrative to it, but at the same time, the little subplots that the movie does have do work very well. At the same time, you can definitely get lost in the fact there's not really a flowing narrative of the story, nor there is a main story, because you're just having such a good time watching it. And I did have a good time watching this movie. Yeah, the story is not the best, but at the same time, it's still a very enjoyable, very entertaining movie. It's a ton of fun to watch. The actors are working very well with the material given to them. If you really think about it, it's sort of a 50s-style version of Tim Robbins' The Player from 1992. Maybe not the same movie, but there's definitely a lot of elements of that movie in this film here. I really enjoy it, man. This is another winner for the Coen brothers, one of their more underrated films. I can't recommend this one enough. If you haven't seen Hail Caesar, see Hail Caesar. It's definitely one of their best films. So at least one movie this weekend got it right. Well, let's take a look at the other ones that were dumped out there because the studios knew they were pieces of garbage. Here's the latest film, and I think the last film from Nicholas Sparks. This is The Choice.
What are you doing?
Walking towards you real slow.
Why?
Because if I ran, that'd scare you.
I seriously had no plans to stop it right there, but as soon as I saw how that scene played out, I was just kind of like, my God, what the hell is wrong with this movie? Because if that was anybody else, and this was a horror movie, that would be seen as a threat. But no, in this, it's a charming romantic story here. And now I'm starting to see why this was the last Nicholas Sparks movie, because holy mother of God. Be grateful I didn't show you the rest of the trailer here, because I think that little bit right there is more than enough for you to say, yeah, this is about as bad as I expected it to be. Based off of Nicholas Sparks' novel about two neighbors who fall in love at their first meeting. Benjamin Walker and Teresa Palmer are the couple in here. You have Maggie Grace, Alexander Daddario, Tom Welling, Tom Wilkinson. Yeah, good talent wasted on a pile of garbage like this. I swear to God, it's yet another one of these movies by Nicholas Sparks where it's literally two people who you think are not going to meet, but you think aren't going to fall in love, but truly they're going to fall in love. They're going to have their third act breakup. They're going to have their moments where they have to split apart, and of course the chaos that follows from this is your typical lame romantic drama. And The Notebook was one of the few that really got it right overall, but this is the point where it's just getting pathetic, man. I mean, there is zero effort put into this because everybody knows these two are going to fall in love with each other. Even if Teresa Palmer is trying her hardest to make it seem like they're not going to fall in love with each other. Like, her parents literally say, no, you're going to fall in love with her. Just like, whose side are you on? And the parents are just telling them, the writers of this, because Nicholas Sparks told us that, because, have you read it? It's honey, if you're in a Nicholas Sparks movie, of course you're going to fall in love. Like, it's just, what more am I going to say, man? Everything you have seen in a Nicholas Sparks production is in this movie. You have everything from the couple that gets together, a weather event that's going to turn everything, that's going to change everything. This one even doesn't have the weather event, if I'm not mistaken, but it's going to be like a severe moment, like someone goes into a coma. And it's just kind of like it's just the same things over and over and over and over again. Like, I mean, they're not even trying anymore, and the film knows that it's not trying anymore. Like, this is just reaching of desperation at this point for something to find that Notebook spark again, and it's just not there, man. It's getting closer into becoming like a parody movie, like a spoof film, and not the good spoof film, the 50 Shades of Black type of spoof film, where it doesn't know how it's trying to be, is how to take itself too seriously while also trying to be funny, and just thinks that, no, we're making a good movie here. No, you're not. You're making a recycled garbage mess like you did the last few movies. It's just like, wrap it up, man. It's over. The party is over. It's time to move on. Wait for 8 more years for the next person to follow in the Sparks footsteps, with Colleen Hoover coming up around here. But at least Colleen Hoover has not made as many terrible movies as the Nicholas Sparks film that's done. Not saying that they're great movies, but they're certainly a lot better than stuff like this. I mean, think about it, man. What has come out in between The Notebook and this? Knights of Modanthe, Dear John, The Lucky One, Safe Haven, The Last Song, The Best of Me, The Longest Ride. I mean, garbage. Straight up garbage. So let's go ahead and move on to our last movie, which should be awesome, combining a classic Jane Austen story with zombies, but nope. Not with the marketing that this piece of garbage had. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
I've been training for this my whole life.
Here are Marie Claire's top 3 reasons to see Pride and Prejudice and Zombies.
What a treat.
1. The 5 dagger-wielding Bennett sisters. Give new meaning to the term girl power. 2. It's hard to say which is more fun to watch, the holy action, or the unchecked grossness of the undead. 3. You can cut on-screen sexual tension with a rusty dagger. And now, Nylon screams. It's fun, fierce, and flawless. So don't miss Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. February 5th, live at 13.
Bravo, Sony. You completely destroyed any hope of this movie being good with your god-awful marketing campaign. I mean, Jesus Christ. This is bad. This is really, really, really bad. Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, based off of the Seth Grahame-Smith novel, the same name. Seth Grahame-Smith is also the same guy who also put together Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, he did Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, but he had a good show in The Hard Times of R.J. Berger. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter wasn't bad, but it was certainly a lot better than this movie was. But it follows the plot of the Jane Austen novel with elements of zombie horror and post-apocalyptic fiction incorporated. And again, it's a movie that you think would be kind of fun, with, you know, taking Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, taking a mix of these actors, of these really good actors, Lily James, Jack Huston, Matt Smith, Lena Headey, Charles Dance. This should work. I mean, this should be a real fun movie, but unfortunately, it has a script that is so bland and so forgettable, and has marketing that just is so manipulative. It's so forced. It's that clearly the same type of people that write commercials commercials. These old writers who think they can be hip with the kids and all that. And yeah, this movie feels exactly like that. I mean, this is a movie that is so lazily put together, directed by a director whose promising career with stuff like Igby Goes Down and 17 Again, and even a little bit of Charlie St. Crowd, went down the crapper with this film. I mean, this film was just such a disappointing mess on so many levels. It's just a terrible, terrible movie. What more can you say, man? A disappointment on so many levels. I really was expecting a lot more from this, especially since Lily James was just coming off of Cinderella. And, you know, in a way, this could have been something really funny, where this could be funny if you wanted to take the idea that Cinderella Cinderella was the end of that story, and then the sequel literally turns it into a zombie movie. I mean, that's the only way I would say to try to do it, but yeah, this thing is a mess, man. This thing is an unmitigated disaster. What a shame, man. This movie should have been so much more than this. Just Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. At least it's not the worst movie of the weekend. That belongs to the choice, but yeah, still pretty bad. So next time we meet on Time About the Movies, we finally get a really good weekend with a lot of really good films, and one piece of garbage, like what we had last time around. But next time on Time About the Movies, it's Valentine's weekend, and what better way to spend Valentine's Day with the person you love by going to see Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, the movie that probably should not have existed had it not been for a leak that came out a couple years prior of what the Deadpool movie was supposed to be like, and then 20th Century Fox saw the positive word of mouth that it got and said, let's go ahead and try this. Let's make a movie off of this. And greatest decision on their lives because it paid off big time for them. We also do have a really good romantic comedy with Rebel Wilson, Leslie Mann, Dakota Johnson. I'm trying to remember who else was in here. Who's the fourth one? Alison Brie. Alison Brie from, of course, from Community. How to Be Single. Then you've got your steaming pile of garbage. Yet another one of those sequels that is coming way after the first movie had any notability to it. And really, was there any reason to do a Zoolander 2 in 2016, 15 years after the original? I don't think so, but we'll take a look at that. We'll take a look at it, and then we'll take a look at a movie that I didn't even realize was coming out around this time. I thought it came out in March, but very underrated animated film that got screwed over by Paramount. Gee, what a shocker. It's like 10 years before the current state of Paramount right now. But nevertheless, The Little Prince, we'll take a look at that animated movie, which really is one of the more underrated animated films you'll probably see out there. So, overall, a pretty good weekend with one lump of coal we got to get through, but hey, it'll work out in the end. So, with all that said, though, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode we did. So with all that said, whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.